conveniently themed contracting group. That couldn't have been pure coincidence. Puck had done his homework on Viking, especially after Algeria. Ex-Colonel Jasper Taggart had a reputation for integrity and effectiveness. Perhaps Viking served as a middleman between the shadier side of the U.S. government and whatever arcane forces had granted his sister the power to sprout wings and fly. The man with the AK twisted and screamed, firing wildly at the shrieking, inhuman monstrosity bearing down on him. The air filled with smoke and the smell of burning feathers. A fan of bullets sank into the metal siding over Puck's head as he sprawled across the surprisingly warm concrete floor. Puck twisted to see the first thug on his belly beside the hostage, grabbing for his lost pistol. He looked up and met Puck's eye. Someone in the government had to know, right? Someone had to know that strange forces were at work in the shadows, looking for a paycheck. The alternative? That Viking, Taggart, and the DOD didn't know, and Val was a secret to everyone but herself and Pinkerton, boggled the mind. The thug leveled his pistol. He had Puck dead to rights. No way Puck could turn and aim faster than the other guy could simply squeeze that little trigger. Then his buddy screamed and collapsed on top of him, gargling and grasping at the scarlet hole in his throat where his larynx used to be. The shot went wild, and both men vanished behind a screen of dark feathers. Puck crawled to the edge of the room and rounded the desk to see a man, barely more than a teenager, huddled in the corner. His hands were clapped over his ears, and there was a large dark stain over the crotch of his jeans. He saw Puck and jerked his head, indicating the abandoned pistol sitting on the floor by his heel. Puck reached for it, and the kid nodded frantically. The look on his face was one of pure gratitude, as if the gun were a rattlesnake threatening to bite him. Puck removed the magazine and tucked the second pistol in his pocket. Because the whole Valkyrie thing was a big deal, as in earth-shattering and reality-rocking. Puck would not have believed a word of it if he had not personally witnessed Val spread those great black wings and fly off into the night. It was fucking magic. Val was holding that door open for Puck and inviting him to step through into a world where he couldn't trust the old rules and laws. A world that would never be the same. And he wasn't sure he wanted to step through. He'd built his life and psyche and identity on the understanding that 2 + 2 equaled 4. And if you let any amount of magic creep its way into the fundamental laws of reality, you ran the risk of waking up one morning to find out that 2 + 2 no longer equaled 4, but equaled, "Watch out! The dead have risen and frost giants are invading Alaska." Puck drew in a deep breath, pulled himself into a crouch, and peered around the desk. The garage had gone silent. Val stood over the 2 fallen thugs, one boot planted firmly on the first man's ass. Her wings had vanished, as well as the horns, leaving her looking rather underdressed in a thin black t-shirt with a weird neckline that dipped low and exposed much of her spine. "That's right," she growled as she unsnapped the man's AK from its strap, removed the magazine, and tossed the weapon aside. "You just lay there and play dead if you know what's good for you." The man twitched. He lay with his face pressed to the floor, his pale hand clutched around his throat. Blood seeped out from between his fingers, but not too much. He squeezed his eyes shut and did a bang-up imitation of a corpse. Puck grabbed the kid by the wrist and dragged him into the open. The kid's skin was clammy from terror, and he followed Puck limply, like a whipped dog. Puck pushed him to the floor beside his companions, and he dropped onto his belly. "They just said I was a security guard." The kid's teeth chattered as he spoke. $100 a day. It was supposed to be a cakewalk." Val barked a laugh as she hurried to the bound woman in the folding chair. "Word of advice, kid. In the future, anytime someone hands you a gun and says the job is a cakewalk, you turn your ass around and run the other way." The boy on the floor took this advice to mean that he might indeed have a future if he played his cards right, and the scent of fresh